Welcome in.
Why am I echoing?
Welcome in.
Am I echoing?
No, I think it's my phone trying to connect.
Okay.
So I
Well,
just turned it off for a minute.
we decided to do 7 to 8 p.m. Anybody that's in, welcome in to Awakening Truths Make Up Your Power podcast. We are doing a 30-day challenge where we go live every single day for 30 days until my father's birthday, which is April 30th. You are going to keep hearing tornado warnings that keep going off on the phones. It's Michigan, so it kind of happens. We've already had 2 sirens and 3 different warnings go on, and nothing's happened so far. So this is just what you guys might hear, but that's a part of going live, isn't it?
It sure is.
We're going to have a good time tonight. Okay, so we wanted to start off tonight with talking about trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is really important to understand, guys, because it's playing out hugely collectively. And a simple way of kind of understanding what trauma bonding can look like, it's having an attachment built through emotional highs and lows. Um, as you go. Somebody. A haunted object is only haunted depending on what your energy is that you're putting towards it. If you put any kind of protecting, shielding, golden white light. Sorry, a question came up. I accidentally brought home a haunted object. I think it's dangerous. Do I return or destroy it? Is what just came up on the live. And I'm just answering it by saying anything that's haunted or has any kind of energy that makes you feel some kind of way, a lot of it is already what you've got going on inside. So if you just kind of protect and shield that energy, then you're good. I mean,
That's coming through from a real account.
I don't know, but I responded to. But yeah, thank you. Feel free to follow, like, share, guys. We're doing our Awakening Truths Make Up Your Power podcast. We're live on YouTube right now as well as TikTok. Um, my co-host Tina. Tina, will you get on over here on TikTok?
Yeah, give me a fucking break. I'm working on it. I told you
Okay,
it's
can
giving
you
me
at least
issues.
hear her? Well, I want to make sure that the audience can at least hear. You're very welcome, Drew. Um, I just want to make sure. Can you guys hear that my co-host?
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, she's got that mood voice. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to
Did you
comment
just say
down
a
below.
moo voice?
That mood voice, like
Oh,
that low tone,
they
like
said moo.
no, like Delilah, like I freaking love Delilah still to this day. All right, I'm inviting you to join. Oh, thank you for the likes. Welcome in, Shaden. Welcome in, also known as my son. We are talking about trauma bonding. Um, Welcome in, Samuel. Thank you guys for joining. We are going live on our podcast right now. And we're talking about trauma bonding, how it's playing out individually and collectively, what it looks like, how to work through it, and the choices that follow, really. Oh, T, I see you on there now.
You do?
Yeah, well, not your
My
face, but
face?
you're on there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on here. I just can't get the video on. It's locked.
Yep, we'll have to look into it and see. It might be because of the viewership on it for now.
Okay.
But yeah, so we wanted to kind of do a topic for tonight. Last night where we left off, we talked about a lot. I realized when I went back through and listened to our live yesterday that Tina repeatedly wanted to direct me out of the prison school systems and into anything else to talk about. But Nicole just kept circling that door right back on through, guys. That's
I'm
what I
used to
find
it.
out. That's what I
I,
find out after the fact.
I'm used to it, and I figured trauma bonding would be a good conversation after that session. So,
Yeah, and speak further on that. So, what kind of came up for you with the trauma bonding that you're seeing kind of individually or say collectively at this time?
I think a little bit of both. I think yesterday when we were just randomly chit chatting and talking with everybody, we kind of went through a little bit of the emotional impact, the heaviness, the weight of grief, and what that feels like. And we decided that maybe if we brought the topic tonight into what it feels like to navigate through a trauma, because we talked about that the trauma doesn't necessarily happen to you, but it's the emotions that you associate with it. So I think we were going to try to find a way to see how our audience kind of felt about that comment. If they have an experience to share, what their thoughts were. So I don't think it was anything very specific, Nicole, just thinking about the conversations we've had in the past with some other folks and how they've navigated through some of this grief and what it, what have you. And you talked about your dad and your mom a bit. I think you were swinging a chair at them last night.
Yeah, they got in the living room.
So I think that's where it came from.
Yeah, no, it was very interesting because when we were reflecting, hello, beautiful souls, when we were reflecting on like the episode yesterday, and I was thinking about the trauma bonding and even kind of just working together some talking points about today, I really could see how it plays into your life individually and collectively, how like trauma bonding is something that we don't really fully realize we're in that experience, but how they play hand in hand with nervous system regulating, right? Because trauma bonding, if your nervous system isn't regulated, then you're reacting those highs and lows. Like when I looked and saw that attachment built through emotional highs and lows, I immediately was able to reflect back to my past of where I thought that love and chaos was in the same house, like that it just was supposed to be that way, but in reality it was actually a trauma response, or confusing that intensity with connection. Like or staying around in relationships or friendships because of the potential you see in somebody. I always thought that my like thing that kind of sucked about me is that I always saw people on a soul level. So I would almost not see the real person that's playing out in front of me. I would see the person,
Yeah.
the potentiality of the person.
Right. Yeah, I think when you think about, I think trauma's misused or mislabeled quite a bit. I think it's a conversation and a topic that a lot of people can really probably spend a lot of time diving into, but like similar to you today, as I looked into it a little further, I was shocked in my understanding of what trauma might have been defined as compared to what trauma collectively is defined as. So I too made that connection, and I thought it would be interesting to see what our followers have to say, if they have anything to share about past experiences, repeating patterns. Why do they continue to hurt me? Why do I stay? Those are all things that are playing out in your mind that I think you're consciously aware of, but you just don't know how to stop it.
Yeah, because you're just so used to that high and low. It's like getting a quick fix.
Yep.
Anybody can relate to that. It's that quick high, it's that instant feeling, and then it's almost like, well, it's been so chaotic in this relationship, but I'm having a moment of it's feeling nice, so let's just sit on that stand. And you just kind of repeat the cycle, and then you start abandoning yourself and you start doing these kinds of habits that just kind of put you in a cycle. But what's interesting is that, and I bet everybody can relate here too, is the emotional shift, what it looks like and what's happening is I feel like, people are starting to notice patterns.
Yeah.
The body feels tired of the same cycle. You start questioning things that you used to accept. If that's not try and true everywhere, collectively, individually, in households, and it doesn't even matter. Your intuition's getting louder. It's just like a subtle knowing. And that something's just not fitting right, and it's because of survival mode. I don't think a lot of people realize that they're constantly living in survival mode, or what that even looks like walking on eggshells, or overthinking everything, that Shigo, constant anxiety, people pleasing, losing
Yep.
yourself, emotional exhaustion, like you were mentioning even yesterday, I think. You said
Yeah,
about
and I'm so glad you said people pleasing, because that just popped up in my head just before you said it out loud. We I guess an empath is really good at people pleasing. I don't know how others are, but it could be very dangerous for your characteristic as an empath. I would imagine, just based off of past experiences, that my people pleasing is what really sent me into circles and cycles that I didn't know how to stop.
Yeah, Brandy said yes. So Brandy, can you relate where what was it that people pleaser? Yeah, I'll be honest, I heard that as well. Brandy hopped in on and commented about being able to relate and said very much to being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Now, if ask yourself though, if you are still in that place of people pleasing, what would it look like if you said no? It's a
Well,
reflective question to maybe sit with for a second. Because a lot of the times we remain in these cycles because we're so afraid of what it would look like if we responded differently. But there's something real empowering and justifying when we just say no, you do it. You take care of that.
but I think for those of us that have been on this journey a little longer, could answer that question because we've sat with it for a while. Um, but I think for me, people pleasing created boundaries that people started tripping over. Like some got it, some didn't. Those who knew what I was doing understood it, respected it. Others who probably were caught in the narcissistic cycles of why I became a people pleaser didn't understand it, still don't get it, still push my buttons on a daily basis about whether or not I'm going to do this X, Y, or Z. But I think boundaries are really an important part to trying to cut off that people pleasing. But you have to find the right balance too, because you don't want to go from being a super nice individual that everybody can relate to, rely on, depend on, to a super bitch. Like you got to find the mean, you got to find something in what's that, 6, 7? Do we still do that?
No,
Um,
well, I'm like, well, sometimes, well, because Brandy responded, she's like, what if the people pleasing was more towards her relationship? And in that relationship, that can happen very often with trauma bonding, right? That's definitely something that
so
is seen. You guys have been together for a very, very long time too.
I was just gonna say, what kind of relationship has this been?
She said, I've been watching your post, woman. You're doing amazing and you're hitting all the right spots when I watch. 19 years. Yep.
You've been in
And
this relationship for 19 years, and you feel like you're stuck in a place of having to people please.
does that sound about right, Brandy?
Sorry, I keep switching back and forth with my eyes, but I'm watching the chat at the same time.
No, you're fine.
Um, I
She said
think
she carries everything. Okay, well, what would it look like if you stopped carrying everything? Hey, another tornado coming through.
so. Brandy, when you think of the relationship of 19 years, and something to sit on as part of this is trauma bonding forms when cycles of affection and harm come together and create emotional dependencies. So are you stuck in a relationship where you're people pleasing, or is this an emotional dependency?
The viewers want to know,
Tina wants to know.
right?
She gets
Did you get
kudos
that?
for
Oh
19
yeah, we're
years.
safe. The tornado sirens have been going off for the past hour. Nothing's happened.
And she doesn't seem worried about it.
No, I'm not. No. Welcome in, everybody. We're talking about trauma bonding this evening. What that looks like, what it looks like when you start to find your voice, and how easily you can fall right into it. What was the question one more time? What was oh, she wanted to know if it was, you said emotional.
Yeah, so trauma bonding can form cycles of affection, which can then harm and create emotional dependencies. So, the emotional dependency part of the relationship, is that where you find you're stuck?
From what it comes right to me while she's thinking on and hearing on, is the one who does it all. Like, don't worry,
Yeah.
I'll take care of it. 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 And
Yeah.
that's
So,
definitely something that has been cyclical.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead, T.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Totally agree. What? Oh, she says still.
Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, though, when we come to these points of realizing that we're people pleasing, there's a good sign there. There's an opportunity that happens when we realize that. Because when we're realizing that, then that means that something inside of us is beginning to shift because the ways that in which we were showing up are no longer aligning with how we naturally want to move, right?
Yeah, and I think that, when you think about with the emotional dependencies on a relationship after 19 years, is it more about fear of losing an individual because of that 19-year connection? Because I th- I can only imagine that when you look
Say,
at that emotional dependency, it mirrors your earlier experiences in the relationship where love and fear were intertwined. And now you're at kind of like a crossroads where you've got to make a decision. Am I going to continue to keep this pattern of behavior, or am I going to stand up for myself and create boundaries? And those boundaries will create a little ruckus, but you'll survive them.
absolutely. And you'll feel more powerful in them. And knowing, though, too, that having boundaries is out of self respect and self love. You
Right.
can't show up the best for a partner or anybody else unless you show up the best for yourself. How about he won't change for anything, but I have changed for the best? Oh, okay. That happens when we're. Oh, they're leaving. All right. Bye, Kaylee. Love you. You guys could. They should could have said bye. Damn. Um, but so
Oh,
I will say collectively, Brandy, this is something that I've been experiencing with quite a few clients because a lot of the divine feminines do shift first. I mean, that's just kind of how the energy is because we are the co-creators, we are the creators. So once we start shifting and doing that work, then usually the masculine begins to follow, or we start experiencing a lot of resistance where you're kind of like, wait a minute, you were able to use this before against me when we were in a disagreement, but now I don't show up that way, but you're still showing up that same way. But the good thing is when that starts to happen, you can calmly start expressing that differently and saying, hey, this, and when you can reflect that, those who are open and willing to see and want to change will be a little uncomfortable, but we'll sit with it. The calmer we can be and the more we can focus on ourselves gives that masculine the opportunity as well.
and Brandy, I just want to go back because I really appreciate you engaging in this conversation. So you're willing to make change, but he's set in his ways, is what I think I'm reading. What what is it about you being able to pull back to make changes to impact your relationship a bit differently, to make it a little healthier, and maybe something that drives him? Because you don't want to constantly feel responsible for the way he's feeling, his behaviors. You don't. Nicole said something a moment ago about walking on eggshells. All this leads to
With emotional
anxiety. He's
He depends on her for
dependent on me
everything.
for everything.
Cooking, cleaning. Okay, so what would that look like if you just decided to only do half?
Like
You'll
put a
be
plate on the
uncomfortable, but
table only.
the table might be dirtier longer. But in all honesty, and I say this from lived-in experience and out of a place of love, what would it genuinely look like if you said, we're only doing half? I'm going to do my half, you're going to do your half, and your half will sit until you take care of it. Well, then it never gets done, but what will it do for you?
Brandy, have you tested the waters with these conversations?
Yes, good point. Yeah.
Or are you sitting in a place where you feel like it that you know how it will go?
So you're afraid of what the conversations could look like, or you're saying, yes, we've had the conversation?
Sorry to be picking on you, Brandy.
She says she's just talked and talked and yelled and yelled. A lot of the times it just got to be your action steps for what's going to be the best for you. And if that looks like you needing to retreat, but you've also got to be willing and open and okay with releasing some of that control as well.
So,
Perfection of what you want it to look like.
yeah, I think after 19 years, it's hard to throw in the towel over just not having a conversation about where this is going, how it's making you feel, what it's testing. Um, you know, in a situation like this, you're trying to tie love in the relationship into an emotion of how you're feeling about the relationship. And those survival strategies masquerade as a connection. So you might have this false feeling of a strong connection with this individual where those conversations aren't taking place because your partner's not taking your words as serious as maybe you're coming across. Because you do end up going into some kind of survival mode where I call it the Hunger Games. You do what you need to do to get through the day. And I would love to be able to see you be able to have a conversation with your partner and be like, listen, boundaries, we're both setting them. It's not just you, it's both of you. And you're doing it together.
As a team.
Yeah.
And a big one too, like me and Brian had to do this. We had to create a safe space. And I mean, I don't care how that's, we needed to literally say to each other, doesn't matter what the fuck I'm telling you right now. You need to let me say it, and you need to not weaponize it against me later. I don't need you to feel some kind of way. I just need to allow me the space to be able to share this and sit with it.
Right.
Reflect on it. And then we'll come back to, and the biggest thing that I learned too is that no action should ever be taken, or decisions I should say should be taken when we're in a state of emotion, survival, anxiety, because when we're in that state, we're not going to take the actions that are going to be best suited for that, because our experiences are relating to us. A relationship relates to you, what needs to work on, because relationships are about balance, right?
They're about balance. And
Brandy,
when
it's
you're
not
in,
easy, I promise you.
yeah,
Because
it's,
Brian was a stubborn one, and he still is stubborn. You
oh,
know it.
Brian,
You've known
Brian,
him longer than I have.
Brian, I got your back over here.
Oh no, Brandy's known him a long time. He could be, well, because he's old school stubborn, and when it comes to kind of emotions and things changing, it can be uncomfortable for anybody.
Yeah,
There
well,
was
it is uncomfortable. Because if you don't do it right, if you don't find a way to have a conversation where it's supportive, it's curious versus being, judgmental, and you're not creating a pattern of a safe place, things are going to go sideways every time you have this conversation.
every time. Like I literally have to say, I need a safe space. Oh, well,
Right.
thank you. He completes me too as well, Brandy. And relationships, that's what they're meant to do. If they don't add to you, they are taking from you. And
Yes.
at what cost do you want that relationship to take from you? You know what I mean? Um, it's not easy, but it is possible. Always. It's always possible.
Hey, Brandy, and anybody else might be on the chat that's going through something similar. Can I just leave a thought, and we don't need to spend time on it tonight, but just something to help you reflect on as you think about moving forward in these relationships, whether it's with a partner or a friend or a family member. Healing a trauma is not about leaving somebody.
Right.
It's about leaving that pattern and that cycle of behavior. So just because your loved one is providing you a sense of feeling like you've got to do everything for them, you're enabling that behavior by continuing to allow that to happen. And that's where boundaries are really important. Again, not easy to do, but if done in the right way and in the right setting with the right conversation, it will go a long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And everything is a process and letting things sit and letting it fester. And there was a point that I wanted to say to what you said that I really liked, and it went over. Oh, I always say, like if we do the same things that we've always done, we're going to get the same things we always got.
That's right.
So in order to get different, we got to do different, and that happens just by micro changes, very small micro changes, and it could just be the smallest little blip. Well, we're glad to be able to help with the advice, and it's all from real lived experiences, education, like just
Oh,
trying to.
Brandy, these are real experiences, hun.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
walk with you in the shadow of this
Absolutely
uncertainty.
walk side by side with you through all of it. Promise you that.
Yep,
But it's one of those things that healing can look scary when we're in the beginning of it, meaning of like stepping into the power of it. Um, because it's one thing when we're healing wounds, but then it's another when we're integrating them into our lives. And that means when we're integrating them, we're usually now bringing people into that healing that we just did for ourselves, which could be scary, it could be nerve wracking, but you just got to own who you are and know that, you know what, I've been with this man for 19 years. The boundaries that I'm going to set, I know are for the most balanced way moving forward for us or for me, and then just stand behind that. Give it time to shift. Keep it making, action steps for yourself. But at the end of the day, you live this world for you, girl. What brings peace and joy to your heart, you lead with. And if he is lucky enough, he will continue to follow
that's
and
right.
walk beside you.
That's right. And honestly, Brandy, I don't know you, but to be with somebody for 19 years is, it's a long time, which means you've lived through a lot. You've seen a lot with this individual. Um, but sometimes the deflection of that individual's emotions, behaviors, unhealed wounds, they're they're being deflected on you or us in that sense when we're caught in this space because we are open to taking the weight and carrying it.
Hmm.
And you at some point you get to that point where you're like, I just can't do this anymore. And I would hate to see a relationship end because it ended that way versus not being able to tackle the hard conversations and make those wise decisions together as a couple. Because sometimes you end something and it happens again because you never identified the pattern and it just follows you to the next relationship.
Yeah. And with masculines too, keeping in mind that a lot of masculines, they don't know, the emotional self awareness, how to be vulnerable, what that looks like. I mean, how many men can say out there? I mean, it's starting to happen more and more, but how many men can say out there that they got a buddy that they could cry to and say, "Man, you kind of hurt my feelings when you said that." No, it'd be more like, "You a bitch." Like, let's just be real. Like, that's kind of how a lot of it was before, and so there is that need for that shift too. In a lot of the masculines, and it's happening. It really, really is happening because they don't know. And if they get too vulnerable when they're just with you and then they go out into the world and they're expressing that vulnerability, that could be very, very scary. Oh, I mean, we cuss
Oh,
and
we
we get
got a
into
fuck
it.
yeah. She clicked with
Yeah.
that.
I was like, don't you worry about that. Like, but just keep in mind what you have control over, the strength card. Do you see what's taming? You tame that energy. You have more power in that energy. Look, there's a lover's card. Than you realize. You just got to have that confidence within yourself, the inner peace within yourself, and then that just shifts. That
Well,
shifts,
in
and that. Go ahead.
there's three beautiful kids I see in the comment, right?
Oh my God, their
You're
names. Never mind. Go
so
ahead.
you're bringing along with you three children who are really adapted to their environment and they're learning from you as to how love it might look like and how it's expressed. So if anything, this boundary, what'd she say? Oh yeah.
I was reading it. Sorry.
I think that you want to do what's best for the kids as well because nobody should not be their authentic self or shrink into a place they don't fit just to maintain that relationship. You want to walk away feeling peaceful, loved, safe. Again, it's just all about the patterns. It's the patterns of life.
If your kids were in the reverse situation, what would your advice be for them? I guess that's probably the biggest thing to ask yourself is if, say, I won't say names, but say if one of your kids were to come to you and very much at the same ends of the means where you're at, in that place, what advice would you give them? And then just lead with that. I do see it every day. Right, so he's the flighter parent. He can just come in and everybody's like, "Yeah, he's a superhero," and then he can go right out while you're stuck doing all the work. I got it, I got it, I got it. Guess what? The best strength you can show them kids is no. The power of
Yep.
no and what
Yep.
that looks like.
Because they're just going to carry it with them.
Yeah, I thought a long time ago being the yes man was smart. It burned me out. It burned me out bad to where my habits were very unhealthy for myself because I was just running on fumes. And the way I was filling my cup up was any means possible, which weren't healthy.
And, I feel like we're picking out, well, if you're truly not happy with that one person.
Just leave.
Right. So,
Tell them the truth. Yes. There you go. So there's your advice.
I think, Brandy, I think you hold all the answers in your heart and in your intuition. It's just a decision that's very hard for you to make on what the next steps are to make this shift, whether it be boundaries or whatever you believe the right move would be.
But you have a safe space here to be able to share that. So that's
absolutely. I also want to just touch on for others that might be in the chat that this doesn't just go with partner relationships. This could be work relationships. These could be relationships with your leaders, your coworkers, family members. It's all about, I mean, how many times could you recall coming out of, I don't know, I was one that got sent to the principal's office a lot, walking out of there chuckling, being like, yeah, she just said not to do it. And then I did it. And guess what? I'm back in her office. And I'm like, like, as a kid, I knew that the principal didn't understand the cycle of patterns, right? And the behaviors, but I didn't know what it was. You just know as when you reflect as an adult on the days when you were young and invincible, you created a lot of those patterns at early ages. What's she saying?
Right, but remember that a relationship is a we. We need to give it everything that we got in order to make something work.
Correct. Yeah.
And also keep in mind too, this is something that I put out there and that is getting more familiar out there. The power of separating yourself from the situation for a bit. Not divorcing, not running, not jumping ship. Just stepping away for some time, like 30 days. Like when I first started therapy a couple years back, when I had to make a decision of like, am I going to repeat this negative cycle, this trauma bonding I was literally living, or am I going to do this? Oh, Heather wants to jump on. Send her the link. Or she said she could listen too. I can't really do anything.
Where is?
I know she just texted it to me.
Oh, she texted you.
Yeah. Shit, where was I going with that? Damn it. ADHD. Where was I? God's mine on and me.
I don't know. You tasked me with something, and I just blocked you out.
Yep. What an annoyance that was on my end. I don't even remember. I don't even remember where we're at. It just comes in, comes through. What was it? Happens. Oh, the separating. I remember now. The separating because, like, for me, my therapist, she told me straight out. She said, "How much time do you need?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "How much time do you need to clear your head, to like create a safe space, to Because if there's anything, anybody that is in your environment when you're already feeling overwhelmed, you need to step out of it to be able to see it clearly. When you are in it, it is next to impossible to see it. And when you're 19 years in it, space needs to, I suggest space happening, not in a way of like you go hook up with people. I don't mean anything like that. I mean just like maybe you stay living here and I stay here. We kind of just alternate and we just have some distance for right now so you can find out what is going to look safe coming back into your orbit. Is that your children? Is that your mate? Is that a friend? You know what I mean? Is that a couple of animals? Is it a therapist? You know, what does that look like for you? And just do it bit by bit. Because I'll be honest with you, when I let Brian know that situation that I needed the 30 days, this, that, and the other, he gave me that. You know what I mean? Because having it from a therapist really kind of helped see it full circle. I think that, you know, me and Brian have really been each other's parent and spouse, you know, reparenting ourselves through this shit, to be honest with you. So it's just a matter of taking those steps. It's not a matter of if you'll get it. It's a matter of you just say it. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, I only say this on this journey, like, you got to get real tough with yourself in your situation if you genuinely want change.
Yeah. And I think what you and Brian can do well, because you've been able to come this far through such different events in your lives, is naming that pattern, that behavior, that inconsistency, whatever it is that you're feeling, without pointing a finger, because
Right.
there's two of you, and just because there's two, it's not all one individual's fault. So, you know, if you can create some emotional distance before you do the physical distance, and to what Nicole is saying, you're not breaking that bond or that relationship, you're truly strengthening it.
Right. Because you're trying to gain clarity so that way you can come back into it in a way that's healthy.
Right.
Because me and Brian stayed in the same house, not like we broke up or nothing like that, but yeah, what he did is he gave me the emotional space to be able to cry, to be able to feel through everything that was coming up because a lot of layers came up and a lot of them didn't even exist from the relationship. They existed from what I had experienced that I had tied the emotion to. So whenever we would get into an experience, because that's what relationships will mirror to you, is whatever needs healing, right? That's what was coming up. He was mirroring to me. I was mirroring to him. Okay, we just had a shit happen the other day, where he starts a laughing fit after we're talking shit to each other. I get butt hurt because I have a moment of insecurity from a childhood, and then he comes through and he's laughing. I start crying, and he can't stop laughing because now he's stuck with the laugh and his ass off. And I walk out the door turning laughing, but I don't want him to see that shit. So we're still very much the child, the student, the teacher, okay?
Oh,
And
till we die.
huh?
Till we die.
I mean, yeah, you know, and giving yourself grace. Giving yourself grace and knowing that one micro step at a change at a time is possible. If Brandy, you lost all that weight, girl. You dedicated your life to getting yourself on a journey and everything else. You did that for yourself. What's to say that you can't make yourself completely happy? You sure can. And who's meant to be in it will be a part of that in the ways that are going to add to you, no matter what.
You're
Control.
you're the only one who can unlock your heart to the right or wrong person, right? So if you're looking, 19 years is a lot. I get it, and I'm sure we're throwing a lot at Brandy right now, but um, I
So
do
is what
have
the
a
lie is.
couple.
It's to help. But
I do have a couple things that I did research on how you can break that trauma bond. That hopefully will be helpful to folks that might be in a situation. So we talked about naming the pattern without self blame, creating the emotional distance before physical distance, build a support system that reflects the version of who you want to be and who you're becoming. That's key. Once you start, and it sounds like you've gone through some transformation physically, you need to start thinking about, does this new version of you really reflect the version of who you wanted to be when you started your journey? You need to learn to regulate the nervous system through grounding, breath work, and co regulation with safe people. You need to keep your circle small. I say it all the time. Give yourself a
All the
little
time.
grace and just be authentic and true to yourself. Replace intensity with consistency, even when consistency feels boring at first. It's just a stepping stone to recreating where your journey's headed. And then relearn what safety feels like in your body. What's your body telling you that you're ignoring? That's a big indicator.
Ignoring red flags. Yep.
Yep.
Red flags are huge when it comes to trauma bonding. And guys, on a societal level, again, why we wanted to do these lives is that it's playing out in real time. You can't ignore it. You can't act like it's not happening. The sirens are going off.
So
But
here's
good.
here's a real thought for you. Your body isn't addicted to the person. It's addicted to the pattern. So remember that phrase, don't hate the player, hate the game? You're kind of like stuck in that space where this is your comfort zone. You have feelings towards this person, but you're drawn into the pattern of the behaviors in that relationship.
Yeah, the emotional highs and lows.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Confusing the intensity with connection, and it interchanges too, right? Like when we're out of balance or we're trying to find balance in it. So I mean, it can happen in any the best relationships. Those relationships that are so grand take a lot of friggin' work. A lot of work to get to consistently. A lot of self awareness and actualization, and where we're showing up and we're not showing up for ourselves, where we're maybe playing victim to something that we can hold power, and seeing kind of what it can look like if we could just step back. Like a lot of people say, I stayed longer than I should have,
Hmm.
or a big one, making an excuses for the behavior, or losing your voice in the relationship, which sounds very true about one of our guests one of our audience members that was just on. You
And
know,
and what you just said about taking responsibility. I mean, we take on everything, the moods, the healing, the behavior, whatever is going on with your partner, you take that on physically, emotionally, mentally, that and you carry that through your day. And don't be surprised when people pick up on it and you're just drawn and you're at some point realizing that you don't fit in this box anymore. Right? And I think,
once in a while.
Nicole, you've gone through this with family.
Hmm. No contact's a real thing, everybody. No contact is a real thing. But you know what's crazy though too? Realizing that trauma bond. A lot of us have trauma bonds to family members, meaning we see cycles that we know have been painful for us and unhealthy for us, but we think because we grew up with these people that we owe them something, that they're entitled to our best years, if you think about it. Because when we stay bound to that trauma, then that means that the person that was involved in that trauma that's in there is gaining that joyous moment that you could be having, that you're instead just thinking on what they did in the past. And I
Yeah.
can say that from lived experience, that I would have one thing shift my entire day, and I'd be in my head about it. I'd go down the rabbit hole about it. Every childhood thing would come back up. And going no contact was the most fucking liberating thing I did. When you face your Bowser, and we got Bowsers at different stages of life, it's very empowering. It really is. It's not easy. I mean, at first it was kind of like, did I make the right move? Did I not? And at the end of the day, you really just gotta take the leap and make the move first, because you're going to be scared. You might as well do it anyway. The victory and the confidence doesn't come in until after you take the leap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that leap. Sometimes it's the push.
And if you went no contact, you had many conversations or tried to have many kind of interactions prior to before getting to that point of
That
going
was
no
the last
contact.
resort.
Right.
That was the last resort. I'm not being heard. I'm not being seen. I'm out.
I couldn't live anymore around anybody that I felt like was lying to me and telling me bits of the truth at the exact out of both sides of their mouth. I had to get out anybody, and I mean this, because y'all are probably listening, you know who y'all are. Anybody that talks out of both sides of their mouths, they can't do it. We're seeing it in our political wise, we've seen it in our personal lives, we've seen it in our childhood, and enough's enough with it. Like that's what Awakening Truth is about, is like we're cutting through the bullshit. I mean, the lie, you got to remember, the truth you always know. And for me, I just couldn't, and I'm sure, T, you're seeing the same thing. When people will be mischievous and they'll go about their ways, and then in the same breath, try to show up and woe is me or victimhooded or try to jump in, swoop in. Like, you really start to see it for what it is when you do the work, man. Like, once you
Oh,
do
you
it, you
do.
start to see it.
You do. And then you get this fucking feeling of like I did it and you're so proud of yourself and hitting that send to voicemail button becomes easier and easier every time somebody's looking for you. And it takes a lot of work to get there though.
Oh, yeah. And not carrying on with it afterwards. Like, because
Right.
you
If you're
mentioned,
gonna do it, you gotta do it.
yeah, like if you're going to ignore the voicemail, you're not going to spend the next 48 hours wondering back and forth if I should or I shouldn't, if I should or if I shouldn't.
Right.
Like that's where the peace comes in though, guys, is just owning it. But it comes down to like I wrote out a letter. I wrote out a letter, I wrote out all the feelings and I tried to structure it the most best way possible. I even ran it through people before I even sent it. And it wasn't met with a response directly. It was met with a response indirectly, and the response validated exactly why I did what I did. And that will happen for you. And at the same time, too, dude, you're going to be a villain in somebody's story no matter what. You're going to be a victim, a villain, a survivor. I mean, it doesn't matter. And no matter what you do, what do you want to be for yourself? Do you want to be the victim? Do you want to be the survivor? Do you want to be the empowerer? Like the choice is yours. At the end of the day, that's what we're getting down to when me and Tina are talking every single time is what choice do you want to make that you want to lead with?
You know, I chuckle at this memory. Um, with my therapist one day, she was reminding me I have the power, right? And when people say that to you, you kind of guess them to death, but you don't really feel that way. And she's like, "You've had the power all along," and I was like, "Where have I heard that from?" And then it clicked. My Facebook profile is from Wizard of Oz with the witch wearing the red shoes, and you had the power all along. That has been on my Facebook page for years. Never once did I click that those words would have such power until somebody else pointed it out to me, and I'm like, holy shit. I must have subconsciously knew when I posted that why I was posting it, but I didn't make the connection. Um,
Your soul knows even when you're not really catching on there.
yeah.
Yeah, the same thing I felt went with my tattoos, like tattoos that I got or things that I would purchase or get. Like the symbolism or however it would match up later was always so different than the original, purpose. It just was like, oh, this is cool. This draws me in. This is whatever. But when you look deeper into it, oh yeah, and that's a beautiful thing though too. When you start having these boundaries and you start freeing up that space inside that you were consuming with those emotions that were strengthening yourself, strengthening your bond, strengthening your life, you create space to start hearing your intuition, seeing the guidance, seeing all the magic that's really playing out all around you through people, places, things, ideas, experiences. And everything is an opportunity for growth. Every lesson leads to a blessing. It's just a matter of, if you're in difficult times, asking yourself, what am I holding on to that is adding to this difficult time? That if I were to make a change, what would it be? I mean, you got to start somewhere. For me, it was me asking myself, I am either going to no longer be able to live if I keep beating myself up, repeating these cycles that are hurting myself, or I'm going to get some help and figure it the fuck out. And that's what I did. I mean, guys, you get to a point where you're like, I can't blame somebody who hurt me 25 years ago. You get what I'm saying? Like, because if I'm still back there, then what am I creating since then? If you keep thinking the same thoughts you always thought, you're going to keep getting the same outcome you always got.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's easier said than done. And I want to acknowledge that because I think a lot of people are like, yeah, I get it, but, right? Um,
Oh, it's a journey. It's a
it is,
journey.
it's a journey, and it's not going to be a clean journey. It's not going to be an easy journey, but you rediscover yourself through this journey. You actually rediscover yourself, or discover yourself for the first time. I mean, there are things in these belief systems that really attack our self-confidence, boost our egos, whatever it is. If you're not in touch with your true self, you're always going to be in that stage of, but what if? But what if? And that's a really hard place to get stuck in.
Control your mind, control your life. If you're not thinking for your mind is thinking for you. And if your mind is thinking from you, it is only going from base pattern programming recognition
Right.
of fight, flight for survival. So
Yep.
just keep that in mind. Use that as a simple kind of thought moving forward. Is like, okay, in this moment, what is this thought, what is this belief bringing to me that is helpful? And what is this bringing to me that it's not?
Yep.
What does it feel like in my body when this thought is coming up? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling scared? And I'm feeling like I got to hurry up and make a decision and do something? That's a place where we want to take our power back from, okay? And say, no, we're okay. We're safe. You know how many times as a grown adult I do this chest rub thing when I get super nervous or I get anxious? And it can sound childish, but it's recalibrating. It's calming our systems down when we do and take these moments. Life
Yeah.
was made to rush you so that way you can't think through a decision and let your body respond. And in doing that, created a society of fight, flight, or fawn. And now we're coming into a place where we're remembering that that's not the state in which we're meant to live in, that we're meant to live in a state of love and creation, not consuming and, constantly running like a machine, a robot. So give yourself grace, give yourself time, but that's what this platform's for. That's why we're going to keep showing up every single day for another 28 days. We already got day 2 down. Got like 6 more minutes. And it'll
So
just up.
So, Nicole, in the next couple of minutes, I do have a closing reflection that I wanted to just take a minute to go through
Yeah.
because I think that there's some things people may connect to here. Um, so, we've already talked about that. If you're in a trauma bond, you're not broken. You're human. We're all human. We make mistakes. You adapted to survive, and that survival mode can become exhausting. Once once you make that transition, you then start to live. It's identifying who you are so you can be who you were meant to be. The moment you stop confusing chaos with connection, you stop abandoning yourself. I found that very powerful. You stop shrinking to fit into someone else's wounds. We do that happens to us all the time. We don't even realize it. We become this filler for people just so that they can move on and they don't realize the impact it has on us as the individual. You stop mistaking pain for passion. and you begin to choose the kind of love that doesn't require you to lose yourself. Because we all deserve a love that feels like peace, not a pattern you're trying to escape.
Yep. Love with boundaries is the true ultimate self-care. Love without is just reckless, people.
Yep.
It is just reckless, and it's one of those things in our lives we have to come to a place and an understanding. How reckless do we want to be to ourselves anymore? Because inevitably, we're in this meat suit. I'm in this meat suit. After I go off of this live, everybody's got their lives, everybody's got their ways of moving and shaking. So let's spend a little less time worried about, what society's viewpoint is of us, and start sitting with what is my viewpoint of myself. How do I want to show up moving forward? Are
Yep.
there some things that I'm doing that are adding to these patterns? Because if they're patterns and they're cycles that are playing up in your life, then you're the root cause of needing to learn something. And that goes for anybody in this world. Cycles repeat themselves because there's a new layer of understanding that happens. In the direction in which it goes is how your energy flows, really. Are we resistant, and are we trying to put a stop to it? Because it's still going to move anyways. So you might as well just give yourself some grace and flow with the changes, because we're in that year. There's no stopping what's going on. Again, we're kind of coming near the end. I'm glad for everybody that came on tonight. I'm glad that Brandy came on and was able to share some
Yes,
of her.
thank you, Brandy.
Yeah, we appreciate that you were able to come on and be vulnerable with us. We're grateful for that. We will always provide a safe space for everybody. There will always be humor. There will always be truth. Tomorrow night, pretty excited. Think this is going to work out, but we possibly have a couple ladies that are going to come on, and they're going to kind of share their lived-in experiences as divine feminines after some tremendous tragedies that they each individually experienced, and how through that darkness, that dark night of the soul, that they really found their divine feminine rising. How they rose up through adversity, and how they now use that adversity in a way to empower. So I really look forward to having them both on tomorrow. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah,
Um,
they're not lighthearted conversations. They come with a lot of pain and a lot of emotion. And if anybody can inspire you to be able to move on and continue with the life you chose to live and why you're here, your soul's purpose, are these two women who haven't even met each other, but have stories that will impact us as an audience in such a tremendous space.
and letting you know that no matter what kind of pain or experiences you have, there is purpose to it. There is always purpose to the pain. You just got to see it for what it is, gain the wisdom, the knowledge from it, and then create. Because if we don't create, we don't integrate. And if we don't integrate, we remain stuck until the lid pops off. So get out there and create. As
Pressure
always,
cooker.
beautiful souls. Yes, as always, beautiful souls. If you woke up today, your soul still has purpose. So you might as well live it authentically in what is true and joyful to you. We will see you guys again back here tomorrow night from 7 to 8 p.m. Yes, it's our second night, and we did already change the time, but we still showed the fuck up, so that's what matters. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night. See ya.
Bye, guys.